What it is, y'all? It is your old boy Pilg, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi. Now, before we get started, we did get our compensation. So if you go into your gift box, you'll receive it in there. It's some measly 50 iris. I'm going to be real. I do long for the days. It wasn't that long ago either, where we would get like an entire Record Busters or Wargame or whatever rewards for compensation. 50 iris just doesn't, after being spoiled like that, it just doesn't feel right. But that's my personal opinion. I know the game's much bigger now, but it's really nothing off their back. Like, the game's already crazy free to play. It's like, what? I don't know. Anyway, I digress. Let's get into it. Let's talk today about Record Buster. All right? Riveria is back for this Record Buster, and she is a stunning type this time around. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about this. Now, she is weak to dark, fire, and water. Dark being, the most, and water being the least. I think dark is 50%. I'd have to go back. I'd have to go in there and double check. Probably dark is 50%. Fire is 40%, and I think water is 20% or something like that. I'd have to go in there and double check here in a second. But you want to outfit all your units with a stun anklet. Okay. If you don't know how to create the stun anklet, I've made numerous videos about how to do this on the channel. You can go look it up, but basically it's a crafting item, and it kind of has a random chance to become whatever it is, so you have to craft quite a few of them, but they're very, very, very useful, and you use them Record Buster all the time. Now, this is the team that I have been using, and I'm going to be real. I might actually do a little bit of swapping on this team later on to improve my scores, but we're just going to go ahead and run this and talk about what Riveria does, because she's quite a bit different than Otaro, but also very similar in a lot of very familiar ways. First things first, all of your buffs are gone on turns 4 and turns 8. So, the end of those turns, I should say. Beginning of turns 5 and turns 9, you have to rebuff. So, getting your debuffs out of the way very early would be very, very, very useful. Now, I am still using Line here, but I do think, honestly, this time around I'm going to swap her out and try something different. But I do have Line on here, and that's mostly because with the way I have the team set up, by turn 3, we're going to basically, at the end of turn 3, we're going to almost have 2 super attacks already built up. Okay? I'm, of course, using the guard down 50% Osfi, and that's going to help scores a little bit, hopefully. I've not quite had the level of success with that I would like to have, but it's a thing. Alright. Now, turn 3, Osfi's going to swap out for Katori. And because fire is an essential part of this, I say essential, but she is weak to fire to a certain extent, Katori is going to be extremely good here. Now, I want you to pay, when we start doing the essays, I want you to pay very close attention to the numbers. But first things first, dark is now down 85%, fire's down 30%, and water's down 45%. So maybe fire was the 30% and water was the 40%. That would make more sense. My apologies for having that backwards. But dark kind of is your best, and that makes sense because A, Riveria is a light type. B, we just got done with a big event that gave us a ton of dark units. Alright. So turn 4, I'm going to go back in here, and what you really want to do here, because on this turn, Riveria will, remember if you watched the video on Otaro, I was pretty convinced Otaro buffed himself. He doesn't, but Riveria does. Riveria will buff her magic, and so using someone like Mikasa, if you see right here on turn 4, removes all magic buffs. Now, there's a number of other units that do this. You really want a unit that does this. It makes survival way easier and way more, I say likely, but plausible, for lack of a better way to put it. Alright. So here we go. Turn 4. Bam. Alright, there's that magic buff, and it's gone. Okay? That's really important, because if that magic buff isn't gone by the time she starts doing SAs, she's going to hurt badly. But you notice right there, it basically tickled. It was nothing. And that's the biggest difference between her and Otaro. Otaro, like, you have to debuff the crap out of him to basically, I say survive those, but to make sure that they're not as desperate a situation as they are with him. With her, you remove that magic buff, and it's a little easier to survive. Emphasis on a little. There's other factors in here, but there you go. Alright. Not building up her SA gauge as fast, and I think, honestly, the reason for that is because if... I'd have to go back. I think I put Casino Seer on... oops, we lost our stuff there for a minute. I think I put Casino Seer on the wrong unit. So that's honestly probably just a failure of my stack. But we're just going to keep going here. Alright. And basically when we get to turn 9, our goal on turn 9, or probably turn 10 if I'm honest, is going to be to do a double SA. And we'll cover that here in just a second when we get to it. But for now, we're just doing basic attacks. Nothing really crazy or unique here. Basically, turns 5 through 8 are just attack, go crazy, and, you know, buff and keep all those buffs in place. Alright. Excellent. Absolutely perfect. Alright, so we've got quite a few buffs in place there. Everything seems like it's in a pretty good state. Those were some big hits. Those didn't feel good. But what I'm going to do on this turn is I'm going to go ahead and do a special attack with Haruhime and Goblin Slayer. There's a big reason why I'm going to do this, so let's go ahead and get that done right now. Normally building up a higher number would be better, but Goblin Slayer is going to give himself a big buff in this one. So, honestly, getting this SA off now, A, you're going to heal everyone, everyone's going to last a little bit longer. B, Goblin Slayer is now, through the end of the match, going to have a 90% dark buff. And with that 90% dark buff, the second time you SA with him, he's going to hit even harder. So let's see what he does here with the double SA. And remember, we've also debuffed her quite a bit, so this is going to hit harder. But 0.5 mil. It's a respectable number, not groundbreaking by any stretch, but a respectable number. Alright, so I'm going to do this to try to keep that buff in place. You'll see here that his his strength is up 100% and his dark attribute is up 90%. So we want to keep all of that for as long as we possibly can. Alright. Yeah, we're going to do that. And that. And basically now all we're going to do is just until, well, on this turn, after this turn, we're going to do little MP restoration with Haruhime and Kitori, but there we go. For the most part, we are really just kind of attacking from this point on. Now, the goal here is to build up the SA gauge. What we want is we want a triple SA. Alright. Alright, now this is kind of that turn where we're like, alright, we've really got to start thinking about survival. The only downside is I really needed to use Kitori's second skill, and I didn't do it earlier, and I really should have. I desperately need that here, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens here. Yeah. I'm just going to do a basic attack with her. Not use up any of our MP. There we go. Alright. Everybody's pretty well healed. That's nice. My only problem is I'm not 100% certain that everyone's going to survive this, but let's take a look. Okay. No, actually they did. So that's very, very nice. Alright. So I want to keep Yosuga on there. I'm going to go ahead and do that with her one more time. I do apologize that the video is flickering in and out. I am still working on getting the phone fixed, but it's a work in progress, to say the least. All right. So long as basically what we want to do is we want to make sure pardon me, we want to make sure that Haruhime gets her heal off, then we want to get this. Basically that will not work for us until Haruhime gets hers off, but you know, that is our goal. All right. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. Perfect. All right. So now we're in just an absolutely spectacular state. We're basically just going to be attacking this turn, and then the final turn we're going to go ahead and do a big triple essay. And turn 15 is going to be kind of our big dog in this fight. All right. So everything we've been doing has been leading up to this. Now in this turn, I'm going to just go ahead and do that. So that's like her attack. We're going to do that, and that, and that. And you'll notice we're not doing Haruhime's for one very good reason. We already have the buffs in place. And you'll notice Goblin Slayer still has this 90%. That means Goblin Slayer is going to hit like an absolute truck. Plus, fingers crossed, we won't get a guard. If she guards, that's going to suck a little bit, but Goblin Slayer is definitely going to bring it home. All right. Half mil with Mikasa. I've seen much better out of her, so that is slightly disappointing. Katori is 755. And remember, Katori's buff, like, she doesn't have any kind of debuffs affecting the fire skills, so that could be way better. And that's one of the things I'm working on with my build, is debuffing fire a little bit more so that I get more damage out of her without affecting my my dark units too much. 1.4 mil. Now that's the hit we want to see. And if I can get a little bit more damage out of Katori, that'd be a really, really, really nice situation. And all three of them have this combo here. The combo is going to be like an extra 200k. It's not end of the world stuff, but it's definitely, you know, definitely a bit of a help there. Ooh, okay. That's going to affect my score very poorly. Mikasa dying was not a scenario I was anticipating there. Ugh. If Mikasa hadn't died, that probably would have been a 200k run. 200 mil run. Ugh. Super disappointing. Super disappointing. Alright. But it shows you that, like, I've got places to work on my team. Obviously, this will give you a good idea of what to work on your team. And the key is here, fire and dark are kind of like, unless you've got a really badass water team, which I don't, fire and dark are kind of like your best possible bets here. And if you have Katori MLB'd, you are absolutely going to love life. Yeah, see, like I said, my Casino Seer is all the way off here on the end. I could probably have that triple SA on the third turn if I screwed around with these numbers a little bit more. But one of the things that I have been doing is I am using this Anya for a little physical resistance. I am using this Hestia to increase the single type attack damage. And if I'm honest, I probably need to swap that on Katori. Yeah, put that on Katori. Casino Seer on Mikasa. That'll probably help her last a little bit longer and should give her a little bit more magic. Just things I'm working on. Other than that, you can see I've got the strength buffing Artemis on Goblin Slayer, and that's because Goblin Slayer is going to be our biggest hitter in this. You saw the 1.4 milli hit with before. Other than that, we're just trying to debuff Dark, and I'm going to add somewhere in here to debuff Fire. I do have some ideas. I know that some of y'all out there are probably going to be eating me up in the comment section for at least one very easy thing that I haven't done yet, and there's a reason I haven't done it, but let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below for sure. I am definitely working on my team still. You guys should be taking advantage of this. We got a second record buster in a row, and then we'll get Familia War Game next week, so don't sleep on this, guys. You guys know crazy rewards from these things as always, so hopefully this has helped you be a little more successful at Record Buster. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow my Birdman. Hit me up on Booker. Be back at you guys with more Danmachi soon enough.